Hey, what's going on? It's Icon, another episode of Just Saying, a week of wrestling for this week in wrestling. Let's get right into it. Raw starts off with the women, more specifically starts off with the Boss, and how can you deny those looks and that body? You know, they're coming off the women's main event, championship main event, Sasha versus Charlotte for the title, and you gotta think at this point, somebody in the back has a little bit more faith in the women as main eventers than the men. They're not really pushing Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins in the spotlight. They're really making it all about the women, and that's not a bad thing. You know, like, it can only be a good thing. You know, it's not about gender at this point. It's about, you know, who's putting butts in the seats, who's getting the people excited, and people are digging the Sasha Charlotte thing. So why not run with it as long as we can? Whoever gets the respect from the crowd should close the show. Same way with the SmackDown No Mercy pay-per-view. If you're going to have your heavyweight championship match first, the Ziggler-Miz match should have closed the show, because that match, you know, had the most emotion and had the most invested, and that was the one that people were really looking forward to seeing. But it is what it is. Sasha telling Charlotte that she wants to make history at the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view, and what better way to make history at the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view than to have the championship rematch in Hell in a Cell. First ever women's first ever women's Hell in a Cell match, period. Charlotte shows up to give Sasha the answer that she wants, and she's interrupted by the Bulgarian Brute and his lovely wife, Rusev and Lana. Rusev was pretty much just like, listen, nobody gives a damn about the women's title. Nobody gives a damn about the women. I don't have a belt. I got beef. I'm gonna say something, and if anybody got a problem with that, they can come see me. Charlotte looking completely dumbfounded. And it's weird because, like, you kind of feel like although they're still enemies, there's still like that underlying friendship and this small little respect that Sasha and Charlotte have for each other. Sasha and Charlotte not taking any of Rusev's BS. The two ladies decide to stand up for themselves, not giving a damn how big he is, and this forces Lana to tell Rusev to back up for a second and let her handle this. Lana being his wife, Lana being a woman, decides to teach these, tell these other women what it is, and it's nice to see Lana on the microphone again, because she's been she's been in the background a lot lately. They've been allowing Rusev to do most of the talking, and actually miss when Lana was the main mouthpiece for Rusev. I mean, Rusev can talk. I have no problem with Rusev talking, but let's not forget about Lana too, because let's go with what got you there. The lady's obviously not impressed with what Lana has to say, put her on her ass, and now Rusev is pissed. Now Rusev is like, listen, this is my wife, I'll fight a girl. And then they decide to take care of him too. A quick little Sasha Charlotte team up, and then the two of them go right back to cursing each other out and feuding with each other, which is how it should be, because these two women are obviously like the ultimate, they're the ultimate definition of frenemies. Rusev now, he's like, all right, screw this. He's like, ain't nobody gonna disrespect me. He's coming to yank somebody's hair bald. But the man comes out to make the save, and and it's nice that they let the women defend themselves against the man. Like, they didn't just have it where Rusev just like scared them and then they ran off like crying. They actually they stood up to him, and Rusev was just like, well, hell, if y'all gonna stand up to me, then, like, if y'all think y'all got what it takes, let's go. But then I like Roman Reigns coming out for the save. I mean, people are booing him, for no apparent reason, but the guy's United States champion. He's not in the heavyweight title picture. And him versus Rusev is actually, like a cool little thing. It's like, it's a cool feud. Don't have a problem with this going forward. This forces General Manager Mick Foley to make a match tonight, in which we will see Roman Reigns teaming up with the Boss to go up against Charlotte and Rusev. So dysfunctionalness all the way around, and looking forward to seeing that match. Now that Cesaro and Sheamus, for no reason, are fighting the New Day for the Tag Team Championships, because that's what everybody wants to see, they decided to give us some one-on-one action. Little Cesaro versus Kofi Kingston action. Kofi gets the roll-up on Cesaro off the distraction, and the New Day scores first blood in this feud. I hope this feud ends at Hell in a Cell, because No one cares about Cesaro or Sheamus teaming up, and I'd actually like to see the New Day fight real opponents, not some makeshift dysfunctional team, which is going to end in the two of them breaking up and having Cesaro and Sheamus have another one-on-one fight for the 15th time. But kudos to the New Day. Anytime you see Kofi get a win, no problem with that. Bayley has another useless squash match. They're trying to get this girl some wins in the worst way. The woman that she fought was kind of cute, actually a little attractive there, but she goes down to the Bayley to belly, and Bayley obviously gets a squash match win. She's no Braun Strowman or Nia Jax, but a squash match is a squash match. Mick Foley comes out and does confirm that we will get Hell in the Cell for Sasha and Charlotte. We'll get Hell in the Cell for Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens, and I believe there's and then Roman Reigns and Rusev. So far we got 3 confirmed Hell in the Cell matches at the pay-per-view. Paul Heyman came out later on and pretty much laid down the challenge, saying that if Goldberg wants a piece of the beast, Goldberg can come get some. But he also said that Brock Lesnar wants Goldberg because Goldberg is the blemished record on Brock Lesnar's career. While Bayley celebrates at the end of her unnecessary squash victory, why would you celebrate that? She gets attacked by Dana Brooke, and I'm actually happy for it because both Dana Brooke and Bayley need something to do. Dana Brooke needs something to make her look strong, and Bayley just needs something to do. I was never a fan of Bayley going to Raw. Always thought she should have went to SmackDown. But now I'm kind of glad Bayley's on Raw, because if Bayley was on SmackDown, she'd overshadow Naomi, she'd overshadow Alexa Bliss and Carmella. And I actually like the fact that these girls are getting an opportunity on SmackDown to show something. So if we get a Bayley versus Dana Brooke feud, and if they end up being the kickoff match in Hell in a Cell, fine. I'm cool with both girls, so I definitely have no problem with this feud or this matchup. Titus O'Neil loses another match to R-Truth, no less. Sami Zayn gets jumped and gets assistance by Neville, so it looks like the two of them are teaming up again. Enzo and Kaz get jumped by the Club, and that takes us to the intergender tag team match with Sasha and Roman versus Charlotte and Rusev. The match turned out to be pretty good, definitely a good tag team match, but of course you think that with all the parties involved. Bank statement applied, spear gets hit on Rusev, Charlotte taps again to the boss, and taps again to the bank statement, and nothing wrong with the champions going over. A lot of times WWE likes to bury the champions, and you got a person with a title and they lose all the time on random shows, so it's nice to see 2 champs actually get a victory. The fact that Sasha made Charlotte tap again, makes keeps Sasha looking strong. And I wouldn't be surprised if both of these competitors storm into the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view and walk out with the gold. So definitely applause, and good match by them. TJ Perkins wins another Cruiserweight Championship match. And in the main event, we get Seth Rollins versus the Gift of Jericho. And we're all drinking it in, man. Now, anytime you got Seth Rollins and Chris Jericho in the ring, it's going to be a good one. Both guys, did their thing. Definitely right choice for the main event. I mean, they could have gone either way with the intergender tag match, but this was definitely the right way to go. And in the end, after hard-fought victory by both guys, and I think it's also good to note that Jericho did not get hurt. Jericho goes for the walls to try to put Seth Rollins down, and off the roll-up, Seth Rollins gets the victory. So the matchup at Hell in a Cell will definitely be one-on-one. And before Seth Rollins gets the chance to even breathe, here comes Kevin Owens to put the boots to him, basically saying it's one-on-one, it's me and you, and he's giving it to him. I can't even lie. This is the type of wrestling that I want to see. This is the type of post-match situations I want to see. So as long as it stays aggressive like this, I'm all for it. Good show by Raw. Raw, good show by Raw. I mean, I would give Raw a 7. The show was good. It was an entertaining show. The mid-hour, there were a bunch of matches in the middle that were just whatever. But for the stuff that was good, it was good. So I can't say the show sucked because there were a lot of things about it that was good. So definitely, overall, give the show a 7, and looking forward to see what they can pull off tomorrow. Time for some SmackDown action. The show opened with the newly crowned Intercontinental Champion Dolph Ziggler going into the ring and having a verbal confrontation with The Miz. Miz obviously pissed because he lost his title, and The Miz wants his rematch. He decides that instead of taking his rematch right now this second, he's going to try to soften Ziggler up. So he brings back the Spirit Squad and puts Ziggler in a 2-on-1 handicap match versus his old buddy Suicide Squad. I mean, overall it was cool to see these guys pick up a paycheck, but you know, the Intercontinental Champion Dolph Ziggler was winning this match. And that's exactly what happened. And just like with Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens, the moment the referee's hands touched the mat for 3, Miz was on him. The Miz was on Ziggler so much. It reminded me of Carmella versus Nikki Bella. You know, the way the Miz just dug into him. So, but I like the Miz's attitude. You know, like, the guy's an actor, so you know he's playing it up like he's pissed. You know, he got a little crew behind him. He got his wife on his arm. Dude is pissed. You know, he wants his belt back. He misses being a champion. He wants to be a champion. So when he decides to soften up Dolph Ziggler, you know, in time for him to you know, pick the bones to retain his IC title, the WWE Tag Team Champions show up, which was a shock because what the hell do they have to do with the Miz or the Spirit Squad? You have to think now Heath Slater and Rhino will probably fight the Spirit Squad at some point, maybe this coming Tuesday on SmackDown Live. They'll fight the Suicide Squad for no reason, but I mean, I'll be okay with that because, you know, it'll give Slater and Rhino something to do to continue to make them look like a good team, and they'll obviously pick up the victory. So, good feud for these two guys. You know, like, the feud between Miz and Ziggler is definitely heating up, and they should have got the main event, but we're still locked in to see where it goes. So let's keep this one rolling. Now, this is just getting ridiculously entertaining. Nikki Bella got the victory. She got her ass whooped for like 2 months straight. And then she's just like, oh, everything's good. I got a victory. Like, blah, blah, blah. Yay. And, you know, and I'm just like, well, you know, it's cool. You know, the things finally settled down. But nope. Apparently I was wrong. Because Carmella was like, I don't give a damn how many wins you get. I don't care if you're using the bathroom, if you're on the plane, if you're sitting down, if you're asleep. Every time you blink, every time you turn around, every time you think you have a thought in your mind about being happy, I'm gonna be right there to whoop that ass. And every time I see you, it is still going to be a misunderstanding. And this is the most entertainingest shit I've seen in a long time. I really wish they'd have an episode of Total Bellas where Nikki's just having tea or having brunch with Brie or something, and while the two of them are having brunch talking about whatever, I wish that Carmella would just come out of nowhere and beat the crap out of Nikki Bella, like, live at a bar. Do some video vignettes of Nikki Bella getting jumped by Carmella at the supermarket, getting beat up at the gas station. I mean, it's weird that I'm like entertained by Nikki getting her ass beat, but you know, it makes Carmella look good, so why not? And Carmella is in action tonight, facing the Glow. Naomi in the house, best entrance of 2016, hands down, and she better get a Slammy for that by the end of the year. Definitely loving Naomi. She got the pin off of Alexa Bliss last week, showcasing the talent. Becky Lynch is out for a while because she has that injury, but she will be defending the Women's Championship. And if for some reason the injury ends up being worse than we thought and Becky can't go, I want to see a championship match between Naomi and Alexa Bliss. And I'd like Naomi to get that championship because you can't tell me the girl's not over with the entrance or with the talent. Two ladies getting it on in the ring. Definitely a close match. Both of them putting up a fight, putting up a struggle. Carmella's showing that she's not just somebody that jumps people from behind. She can actually defend herself, and she can actually, put some boots to somebody. She can actually put a hurting on somebody. Naomi, same as always, showing the athleticism, showing the skill, showing the talent, showing the growth, showing that she's deserving to be a crowd favorite. She's deserving to be, to be considered for a championship. Hell, she's deserving of being a champion. Nikki Bella now, after getting attacked again, decides that she wants to come out, and it was weird because she had on her dress and everything before, but now she comes out in full-blown, like, wrestling attire, so she's coming to get her some, and Carmella, off the distraction, Naomi actually picks up the victory, so now Naomi has not only pinned Carmella, she's also pinned Alexa Bliss, so that's 2 wins back-to-back for Naomi, and one of them is over the #1 contender. Nikki Bella's like, I don't give a damn, what match she lost. I'm coming to get my revenge. And the two of them, don't get me wrong, I love what's going on with Sasha and Charlotte, but this right here is entertaining the crap out of me. Carmella, heads for the hills. Nikki playing it up, and I like, I have to say, so far I like Nikki Bella now. I wasn't really a fan of her before, when she was the longest reigning Divas champion, but this Nikki I like. This Nikki I like Carmella, like Naomi. SmackDown Women's Division is still #1 because the SmackDown Women's Division is about more than just 2 people. So let's keep it going, and hell, let's give Naomi a championship because the girl deserves it and needs it. Alexa Bliss backstage basically saying that the win that Naomi got was a fluke and she can beat her anytime, anywhere. Daniel Bryan then comes out and says that next week Alexa Bliss will get that chance because she'll face Naomi again in a one-on-one match. And you have to think, if Naomi wins next week, she has to get inserted into the Women's Championship Triple Threat match. And if Naomi wins that match and wins that title, then Becky's injury is actually more serious than we thought. So I actually hope Naomi does get that victory. I hope we do get a triple threat match, and I hope Naomi comes out on top and wins that title. In-ring competition now with the WWE Champion AJ Styles. He comes in talking his trash as usual about how he's the champ that runs the camp, which brings out Dean Ambrose. AJ Styles tells Dean Ambrose that he's going to give Helmsworth a redemption shot at the title. And Dean Ambrose, basically like, this is a joke, but Daniel Bryan's like, okay, fine. If you're going to give Ellsworth a shot at the title, fine. Give the boy a shot at the title, but Dean Ambrose will be the special guest referee. Now, Dean Ambrose did the worst job of officiating anybody could even do. He wasn't counting. He was taking food from the fans. He was looking sideways at a certain point. Ellsworth got tossed out the ring. Dean Ambrose actually put it back in to avoid the 10 count. AJ Styles gets upset and actually puts his hands on the official, which allows Dean Ambrose to get his revenge and kick a little behind, kick a little behind on his own. Dean Ambrose thinks about it for a second, and he's like, should I get involved? Should I not get involved? And he's like, you know what? Screw it. I'm gonna get involved. Dirty deeds to the WWE champion. Actually pulls the dude on top of him. Fast count, and Ellsworth is your winner. And according to Daniel Bryan, he will get a heavyweight championship match against AJ Styles next week. And you have to think this won't end well for this kid. AJ, it was cool that AJ actually did the JOB to some random dude. But when he gets the title shot next week, the kid's gonna die. AJ's coming back strong, so JBL's losing his mind. Ambrose may win today, but trust me, the war and the battle is far from over. Main event action now. Randy Orton and Kane versus the Wyatt family. Towards the end of this match, Randy Orton reaches for the tag on Kane to get that hot tag, and just as he get it, Kane disappeared. Kane disappeared. Luke Harper ended up from one side of the ring on the other. Kane's nowhere to be seen. Orton's left all alone, and for the second, third, or fourth straight week, not including pay-per-views, well, I guess including pay-per-views because he lost them too, Randy Orton once again falls at the hands of the Wyatt family, and the Wyatt family standing tall. This is actually a good thing because the Wyatt family hasn't done jack for a while, so if they can pick up a couple of wins going forward before they eventually lose, fine. Good show by SmackDown. Give SmackDown a 7.5. It was definitely entertaining, definitely enjoyable. I'd like to see a couple more superstars get brought on this show, though. Where the hell is Apollo Crews? I'd like to see Apollo Crews come back. Let's beef this thing up a little bit. Goldberg's supposed to be showing up on Raw. SmackDown's good. SmackDown's real good. SmackDown's the best show. It's the best show between the two that they got. But I'd still like to see a couple more superstars on SmackDown. No Swagger, no Corbin tonight either. But yeah, definitely a good show, and I definitely say 7.5. Some Lucha Underground action now. Chavo and Azteca Jr. meet up in the locker room. Chavo sneaks on him with the chair, puts him down for the count because Chavo wants that match with Pentagon Dark. Rey Mysterio comes in, sees his boy Jr. laid out. He goes to help him. Aztec Jr. was actually supposed to wrestle Pentagon Dark tonight in the one-on-one main event, but that's not going to happen. So now Mr. Dario has a decision to make. He has to come up with a new main event because Aztec can't go. My man Famous B is back. Him and his client Wagner team up to go up against Son of Havoc and the little person, the little masked lucha person. And in Famous B's first match, he picks up the victory. I mean, the match was pretty funny. It wasn't a 5-star classic, obviously, but it's nice to see Famous B finally get in the ring. I mean, I'd like him to get to the point where he stops managing people and starts actually doing some in-ring work. So I'm pretty sure the guy can wrestle. I'm laughing that he actually wrestled in his entire suit. That was really funny. But anytime Famous B picks up a win, anytime Famous B's on the TV, yeah, I'm there. Despite cowardly interference by Johnny Mundo, Sexy Star comes out, puts up a damn good fight. The girl's still a crowd favorite. And then, Phoenix comes in to make the save as, Johnny and his team basically threw everything but the kitchen sink at Sexy Star to try to distract her from picking up this victory. Sexy uses everything to her advantage to roll him up and pick up a 1-2-3, and she is still your Gift of the Gods champion. You gotta think at some point we're getting Sexy Star versus Johnny Mundo. So let's just keep our eyes open for when that matchup finally takes place. And to make up for not having Azteca in the main event, we get Rey Mysterio versus Chavo versus Pentagon Dark, in which Pentagon Dark gets the pin on Rey Mysterio. So big win for Pentagon Dark, and the feud isn't over because Aztec is coming back to get his revenge. Chavo obviously pissed because he wanted a one-on-one and didn't get it, and now that Pentagon Dark pinned the great Rey Mysterio, you gotta imagine big things coming for Pentagon Dark in the future. Chavo, being upset over what happened, decides to teach Rey a lesson, and he puts the boots to him and he wears him out just like he did in the good old days. So it looks like we're also going to get a Rey Mysterio Chavo feud going up. Overall, gotta give Lucha Underground a 7.5. Thought it was a really good show, very entertaining, and can't wait to see where all these feuds come. No Kill Shot, still waiting for Kill Shot, but still good show by Lucha Underground. Definitely 7.5. Time for some Impact Wrestling, and TNA started with the new TNA World Heavyweight Champion Eddie Edwards off the defeat of Bobby Lashley. I thought Lashley would disappear after losing this because I know he has the Bellator match coming up, but he was in attendance tonight, and Eddie Edwards pretty much got in the ring and gave the traditional hero speech saying he'll defend the belt against all comers, he'll do whatever it takes, blah blah blah, this, that, and the third, and anytime Bobby Lashley wants a rematch, he can come get a rematch. So Bobby Lashley decided to come to the ring and come get him some, and get himself his rematch. He beats the piss out of Eddie Edwards, and then says, and then basically says that, hey, you said you'd fight anybody, anytime, any place, anywhere. You said you'd give me my rematch, so I want my rematch right now. Calls for a referee, and Bobby Lashley demands his rematch. Now, a referee obviously didn't come because you just can't ask for the rematch and get the rematch just like that. And this forced EC3 and Moose to come out to get the save, for Eddie Edwards, because Eddie Edwards was basically getting his brains beat in, proving that although he may be the champion, he's not the toughest guy on the planet. Lashley ends up fleeing the ring, and it looks like we got ourselves a little standoff now between Eddie Edwards and Bobby Lashley, and it looks like this feud may go for a little bit between Edwards and Lashley, but we'll see what happens. Grand Championship match up next, Aaron Rex versus Mr. Goners for the TNA Grand Championship, and another physically dominating, another physically brutal matchup. Donners did get some good offense on him, but this has proven so far to be Aaron Rex's match. It's proven so far to be his stomping ground. He's got the size, he's got the strength, and he's making the Grand Championship worth something. I have to admit. He picks up the win here, and Aaron Rex has retained and is still your TNA World Grand Champion. Bobby Lashley comes out, lets EC3 know, lets Moose know that the two of them will be facing each other in one-on-one competition, because TNA President Billy Corgan said that since Bobby Lashley beat the snot out of Eddie Edwards, he's going to take away his championship rematch, which I didn't think could happen. But instead, Lashley spoke to him, and they worked something out to where Lashley will have to earn his rematch now, where he will face the winner between EC3 and Moose in a one-on-one match. And the winner out of these three gentlemen will go on to face Eddie Edwards for the title. The Hardys in the ring celebrating their celebrating their victory over the tag team division. And as Matt said to the audience, he said that they are better than the Bucks of Youth and the Day of New, claiming that they are the greatest tag team in professional wrestling today, and they'll take on all comers, much to the delight of the crowd. You know, I never thought I'd see Broken Matt Hardy get cheers, but this tag team is anything but obsolete, and they will not be deleted or defeated. This causes new challengers to come out of the woodworks when you make claims like that, and we do have new challengers. The team comes in, not exactly sure of both guys' names. The two of them come in and pretty much take out the Hardys. You know, put the boots to them, give them the beat down. It's pretty interesting because it's nice to actually see a couple of tough guys get in the ring. I mean, I like Decay, but Decay was kind of weird and didn't really have that tough guy factor. These two guys look like they don't give a damn about all this broken crap, and they don't care about all this mystical, magical mumbo jumbo. They're basically just here to win championships, win these tag team titles. And the Hardys are actually in a fight now. Like they're not in a magical, mystical contest between the powers that be. They're in an actual fight. So we'll see how the Broken family can adjust to being in a real fight when their tag team titles are on the line. The Miracle versus Cody Rhodes in one-on-one action. And I have to point out, Cody Rhodes was granted a TNA World Heavyweight Championship match, which made the Miracle unhappy, which is why the two of them are having this fight now, that and Cody taking the jump on him at Bound for Glory. Now, during this match, the gorgeous Brandy Rhodes was at ringside. Maria Kanellis also at ringside, as these two pretty much slugged out and put on a good fight. I mean, it's Cody's debut match on Impact Wrestling, so it was obvious that he was going to win the damn thing. Which kind of sucks if you're the Miracle Mike Bennett, because I just remember when Mike Bennett was the guy who was picking up victory after victory because he was new, and everybody else was falling at his feet. But the new guy comes in, so now the new guy has to look strong, and especially because of Cody's getting a championship match right out the gate, then you can't have him losing to the Miracle, because then the Miracle will be claiming he wants a triple threat and like all this other foolishness. So so that's it. But yeah, definitely a slugfest between these two. The finish was pretty decent, where they basically beat each other to the level of exhaustion. Cody connects with the Crossroads, 1, 2, 3, and the Miracle is down. And Cody Rhodes, or Cody, as they're calling him in Impact, is your winner, and he will go on to face Eddie Edwards next week, TNA Impact, for the World Heavyweight Championship. So kudos to Cody Rhodes, and looking forward to that championship match. Maria faces Gail Kim in a no disqualification match for the Knockouts title and for Maria's controllership, if that's a word, of the Knockouts division. Billy Corgan banned pretty much everybody and their mama from ringside, which puts Maria in the ring all alone. So it's nice to actually see Maria do something, without the assistance of others. Allie once again getting cursed out backstage. She was like, well, I'm banned, so Allie took off for the day, left Maria to defend herself, for once. Gail Kim playing back all the weeks and weeks of torture that have been placed upon her, uses this moment to basically teach Maria a lesson once and for all. Eat defeat on the trash can lid, and the beef between Gail Kim and Maria Kanellis is finally over. Maria loses power, and Gail moves on as your TNA Knockouts champion. And finally, in the main event, Moose versus EC3 for the right to face Bobby Lashley for the #1 contendership. Good matchup by both guys, face versus face matchup. Moose is a big dude, man. EC3 he's put together, but when you stand next to Moose, it was almost like originally when people would stand next to Lashley, the size difference, and Moose is actually bigger than Lashley. So, but with that being said, EC3 still put up a good fight. He still proved why, he's the person, that he says he is. But, in the end, we all knew from the beginning we were destined, especially with everything that's going on with TNA as a company, not knowing if they'll be on air, if they'll not be on air. I guess they figured, listen, we're trying to give everybody Bobby Lashley versus Moose. The whole direction of things is leading towards Bobby Lashley versus Moose. So before the doors close for good and something happens, let's give the fans what they want, which is Bobby Lashley versus Moose. Moose off that big clothesline, that big hammer, drops the load on the back of the head of EC3, and he picks up the 1, 2, 3. And there you have it. I would actually give this show a 7 because it was decent, but you know, it was nothing really special, but it did have some good wrestling on it. It looks like next week that's the match. Moose versus Bobby Lashley for #1 contendership to see who faces Eddie Edwards. And I think it's funny that we have like the two biggest guys in the company, you know, fighting for the right to fight the smallest guy in the company. And Eddie Edwards, you got to think Eddie Edwards is going to come out on top in the manner. But Lashley, you know, he's on the warpath. He's like, you know, I know I got this Bellator match, but screw it. You know, I'm coming to get me some. You know, and I like the fact that Lashley isn't backing down. I like the fact that he's not playing the coward. You know, he's you know, him and Moose have been ducking each other long enough, and it's time to do this, man. Like, it's time to get this on. So next week for Impact, well, I'm tuning in. Moose versus Lashley. Let's do this. And now it's time for some NXT. The NXT show kicked off with the Glorious One and the Perfect 10, the Glorious 10 if you will, having their first round matchup in the useless, unimportant, you get nothing for winning it Dusty Rhodes Classic. Much respect to the man, no point for the tournament. I said again, at least if the two guys, because the whole damn tournament's pretty much made up of makeshift tag teams. Even if it was at the end, if the two guys that won the tournament fought each other in a #1 contenders match with the winner getting a title shot, then fine. But you get a trophy and whatever. So anyway, we have Bobby Roode coming out in all of his glory as he gets ready to have his first in-ring competition in the tag team division. His tag team partner being Todd Dillinger, the Perfect 10. They make up the Glorious 10, and we're off to the races. They're actually facing the brand new, which no one knew if it was singles, if they were a team, if it was a triple threat, or whatever the case may be. But we finally get a look at the new Sanity, which turns out to be a group of 4. You know, at first glance, it looked like, you know, it looked like 4 dudes in masks. Looked like Ace and Eights. It looked like Ace and Eights all over again. And you know, there was some intrigue there. It was kind of like, hey, you know, what's going on here? You know, who are these people? I don't know if this is cool yet or not. We got to see where this goes. 2 of the 4 members of this team end up facing the Glorious 10 in tag team competition, and the entire time the other 2 who were not involved, which were the 2 smallest of the group, ended up not removing their masks. They kept their masks on the entire time at ringside. Ty Dillinger got jumped from the opening bell, in which Bobby Roode did nothing to help him. He actually stood there with his robe on, watching the destruction the entire time as Ty Dillinger gets his brains beaten. Bobby Roode thought about getting in the ring at one point, and then he was like, screw this. I'm not even a tag team guy. You don't get anything for winning the damn tournament, so I'm out. And that's exactly what he did. The Glorious 10 lasted all but 15, 20 minutes. And it looks like what we're going to get now, we're going to get Ty Dillinger versus Bobby Roode in a feud. Which is sad because Dillinger's been on a roll and he's like super over with the crowd, but you know he's going to do, you know he's going to lose to Bobby Roode. You know he's going to do the JOB to Bobby Roode. So the Sanity, the Sanity or whatever, nice finishing move, I do have to say. They put TD down for the count, and their debut is their first win as also their advancement in the tag team tournament. The little guy of the group actually was really feisty and looking to get his hands on TD. And then after she took all the stuff off, we found out it's not a guy, it's actually a girl. And she's probably tougher than the other 3 people that's in her own group, because she was going off at she was actually wailing on Dillinger pretty hard. It was kind of hard to watch it. It was for a split second. It was a little hard to watch at one point, but we were watching it. And then finally, the last person who is viewed as the leader of the group ended up putting a wicked finisher on, and then he revealed himself to be Eric Young. EY, conspicuous by his absence, haven't been seen on the program in quite some time. Not only is he back, he's back and he brought his people with him. So look out NXT, because there's a new group in town, and apparently they have anger management issues, and they're coming to kick some ass and take more than their fair share of names. And once this Nakamura-Samoa Joe feud is over, I wouldn't be surprised if Nakamura wasn't the next victim. Meanwhile, backstage, Bobby Roode, running for his life, tells the interviewer that Ty Dillinger begged him to join the Dusty Road Classic, which wasn't the case, and he's better off as a singles competitor. So I guarantee next week Bobby Roode will have a singles match, and then Dillinger will come out and get his revenge on Bobby Roode, and that'll be the matchup that we will get in Canada. And seeing as how Bobby Roode is from Canada, he will win that match. Calling it now, just saying. Women's action now, Billie Kay versus Liv Morgan. Liv Morgan trying to get her revenge after being made fun of by this Australian duo of Billie Kay and Peyton Royce. She came in, again, she did her little Spitfire thing. She's like a cross between, she's like a Nikki Bella, Carmella, little bit of Alexa Bliss in there. She's a fusion character. I do have to say. I think she does need to change it up a little bit because her shtick is kind of like, it just looks very familiar. But she put up a fight. Wrestling wise, the girl picked up nothing but losses when she first debuted. But lately she's been getting better. Her work's been improving. But unfortunately, she doesn't have any friends yet, and with the 2-on-1 assault, there's nothing Liv Morgan can do, and she gets put down for the 1-2-3, and Billie Kay proves to be the winner in this match, and she goes on to hopefully bigger and better things. What I guess will happen is at some point Liv Morgan will get a friend, and she'll come back and try to get her revenge. I'd probably say that the next time Peyton Royce or Billie Kay have a match with another girl and that girl gets beat up or that girl gets jumped, she'll be the one to team up with Liv Morgan the next time we see him, which will probably be a tag team match at TakeOver Canada. Blake and Murphy have a one-on-one match, which was pretty decent, but as characters, nobody really cared, and I think these two just need to go back to being a tag team. Samoa Joe comes out, still on his rampage, and he decides that he's going to interrupt this match between which kind of put us all out of our visual misery, and then and he wants Nakamura. As he says, either Regal give me Nakamura or give me the title. Samoa Joe doesn't have to wait long because Nakamura actually is back. He shows up, has the neck brace on, peels it off, and lets him know he's 100% healed after the beatdown that he suffered. Samoa Joe has that old-ish look in his eye, and Nakamura comes down to get him some. So at TakeOver Canada, we will have Nakamura versus Samoa Joe. Overall, decent show by NXT. If I have to grade it, I would give it a 7. Decent matches, but nothing like highly special happened. It was just a normal show. So that was it. Yeah, that's it for this week of wrestling, guys. Just saying my thoughts, my opinions. Hope you enjoyed it. Definitely check out my Comic-Con video that I posted a couple of days ago, and we'll see you next week for another week of wrestling. So until then, take care.